So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Stacy Moulton, and I am an Associate Director in the Center for Career Education and Professional Development. I've been here for about 11 years now. I've gotten to see lots of changes. This building was not here when I started, so it's really exciting to be part of the campus these days. I am here today to tell you about the services that we have to offer. One of the pieces of advice I always give students when I coach them, and I do see a lot of underclassmen, is to not just state what they're good at, is to demonstrate it. So we're going to kind of take that advice today, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of our services, but then I'm going to leave it up to our panelists who have all used our services to demonstrate how your students can really take advantage of our office. So before we get started, I want to just take a pause and allow the panelists to introduce themselves. So I'm going to have them each give you their name, their major, and then how they came about having the major that they have today. So Giancarlo, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So my name is Giancarlo Rivera. I'm a junior health policy management major from Westfield, New Jersey. And I came to Providence freshman year as a marketing major. And after I took the introduction class, I realized it really wasn't for me. So after speaking with my parents and a couple people in the healthcare field, I decided to switch my major to health policy management.
Thank you. Josh?
My name's Josh Ramino. I'm a sophomore from Wakefield, Mass. I'm a finance major, econ minor, and following a CFA track. My grandfather actually got me into finance, and coming in, I knew that was exactly what I wanted to do.
Hi, I'm Kristen Sauer. I am a senior. I'm from Boylston, Massachusetts, and I am a public and community service studies major with a double minor in math and business. I came in undeclared. First semester freshman year, I took the PSP Public Service 101. It was something that I knew I really was interested in because PC is so unique that they have this program. So I took that, really liked it, declared PSP and math the same semester as a double major. Because they were two things that I really enjoyed. Then first semester junior year, I dropped math to a minor because I knew I wanted to focus in more of the nonprofit and development world, so I was able to focus more on PSP.
Amanda?
My name's Amanda Hartman, and I'm also a senior. I'm an accounting major, and I came in declared to Providence as psychology, but I realized that I wanted to go in the route of business. So I was deciding between actually econ and accounting, and I had an internship going into my sophomore year at an accounting firm, and I really liked that. And just talking to different people, I realized that accounting would be a better fit for me.
Great, thank you. There's a few seats down here if anyone wants to have a seat. So the Center for Career Education and Professional Development, we are here to help students identify, enhance, accomplish, and really learn about their career development goals as well as their internship, job search, and educational goals. We are not just here for when they graduate, contrary to belief, and we're not just here for business majors as well. So certainly students can begin using our services as early as they want. We offer programs and services that will really help give them the tools for lifelong learning and planning and success. We provide a bridge between academic and professional realms, helping students make the connection early on between school and work. And that's where we've really grown a lot in the past 11 years with the integrated learning and really helping them to see what they're learning in the classroom and then how that works in the real world. One of the first encounters many of your students may have with our office is getting help choosing their major, minor, or different academic areas and how that connects to a career. So I personally see a lot of the undergrad students that are trying to decide on a major, maybe they want to change, or they have their major but they don't know what that does. We do this by individual coaching appointments, so a student can come and meet with a half hour, an hour with a career coach, myself or others in the office. We also have online resources, so we have a tool called Focus that will help students kind of identify their interests and even match it to majors that we have here on campus and some career possibilities. We also have What Can I Do with a Major, and a tool we've been using in the past couple years is StrengthsQuest. So great resources for students, and they can take them on their own and then come in and discuss it with us. We also partner with clubs and faculty to go into classrooms, to go into club meetings, to talk about different resources and how we can help them. One of the big things that we've done recently and that many of your students may have gone to is called the Major Minor Fair. This is an event that's part of our Fall Career Expo where we bring every single department on campus into one spot, and students can just go around and talk to all the different faculty, and they often bring students with them to find out what their major is all about, what they need to do, what classes they should take, and different things like that they've done. Also, they can talk to the students to find out why you're majoring in that, what are your plans. It's a great event, and this year we had over 500 students attend, which is, I think, the record high since I've been doing this. So it was a great, great turnout, and it also gives students exposure to what a career fair is, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Once a student has an idea of what they want to major in or what career they may like, the next step is to really explore those options. And we know the most powerful way for students to explore that is by networking. At PC, students can do that a lot. They can take advantage of our programs that really allow them to be engaged while exploring career options and connecting with professionals. That's one of the things that makes my job very easy is the power of the alumni network. It's really, really strong here. So students can attend career panels. They can also attend some of our key alumni networking nights. So January is what we call is our networking month. So coming up, we'll have networking nights in New York. For the first time, we're going to have one in Connecticut. It's in Glastonbury, Connecticut. We'll do one on campus when they come back to school. We'll also do game watches. So Long Island's going to have a game watch that they'll invite students to come. So you get to watch one of the basketball games while meeting with alumni. We also do smaller ones in DC and LA. And then in June, we'll do a networking night in Boston. These networking nights allow students an opportunity to speak with many alumni from a variety of career fields in one night. So pretty much speed networking. They can go around. These events are really great, not only because they can learn more about their career fields, but it starts getting the students used to talking about themselves, talking to people. And one of the things is it's a little bit less pressure than when they're on an interview because it's just with friars. They're not expecting students to come polished. And we'll have freshmen, sophomores come, and it's their chance to kind of stutter and to not know how to introduce themselves and practice and learn from these alums what they need to do. How can they prepare for these different careers? It's also a way for them to start making some relationships that can help them later on by getting those internship leads and those internship connections. In addition to the networking nights that we do, we host a winter break shadowing program, which is going on right now. Students can view over 100 alumni profiles and apply by November 10th. So if you have any students that are interested, they can do that. It's still going on right now. And it's, again, variety of career fields and variety of different geographic locations. So students can apply, and if they get matched, they spend a day during winter break with an alum to see what it's really like. We have one alum who's in every year, an orthopedic surgeon. So students can actually go in, scrub in, see what it's like to be a surgeon. We have, accounting, research, lawyers, all sorts of things, marketing, advertising. So there's a lot of different varieties, and students can see all those on eFriars. It's all listed there. So it's a great opportunity. But let's turn it over to some people who've actually done some of this networking so we can see them not just selling the sell. So Josh, can you tell us a little bit about your experience networking with shadowing and the networking nights?
So I'll actually start it off with the shadowing program because I shadowed briefly at Fidelity over last winter break. Fidelity Capital Markets in Seaport Street in Boston. I shadowed in fixed income, and the woman who I was shadowing was in underwriting. Now, at the time, I didn't really know what much of that meant. However, after the day, I certainly did. And for me, more than saying, hey, that's what I want to do, it was more, hey, that's what I don't want to do. But, which, believe it or not, is more important than you think.
Yes, it is.
And I could basically, that kind of gave me a direction of where I wanted to go. To follow up with that, later when I did the networking night, I met the woman's sister who I shadowed, who happened to work at EMC, and I got to make connections there, as well as somebody in private equity, and I didn't really know what private equity was, but now I do. And so with that, it's really kind of finding specifically where you want to go, at least for me it was. And so I got a lot out of that personally, just direction-wise, what I specifically want to go for. And that helped me zero in on my CFA track, which I know is specifically for asset management, which is very specific within finance. But knowing where you want to go for me has been the biggest thing.
Great, thank you. Amanda?
So I also shadowed someone, and it was at John Hancock, and it was an actuary. And at this time, I was deciding between accounting and econ, and I had a similar experience, and I actually realized I didn't want to become an actuary. So it was a really great experience. So I still actually have that connection, and I use them as a resource just to network with other people. But I've also been attending the networking nights. I attended New York and Boston, And I've been doing it since my freshman year, and it's been great because I've been able to go and see the same people. And my freshman year, I remember going, and my goal was to at least talk to one person because it was a little scary at first going as a freshman, but now as a senior, I feel a lot more comfortable going able and talking with other people. So.
Great. And that's the advice that we do give the students, especially when they are first year, to just go. If you, first thing you say out of your mouth is, I'm a first year student here, their expectation is going to go down. They're not going to expect the polished answers, yet they're going to be very impressed that already you're out here and you're going to make some really good connections. And then by going each year or participating and shadowing each year, you're going to build these connections. So by senior year, you can be a little more forward with people and say, all right, I'm ready for the job search. Can you help me? You're building up those relationships. So it's great opportunities. And either myself or other people from my office are always there to kind of help students, maybe make an introduction for them as well. This past year, we started using industry dots on name tags. So all the alumni and students have name tags, but now they can have a different color dot because I'm sure like many of you in this room, the career that you have now may have not been the one you started. So for example, I could have marketing, financial services, and higher education. So students can start to see just different career paths that people have and kind of help break the ice a little bit with some conversations. So it's always evolving, but these are programs that we've been doing every year. And last year we had a really high turnout and the alumni really do come back. The shadowing program's been going on now, I think, for 25 years. Some of the alum have been participating for 25 years. So they really want to help share their knowledge and open doors, even if it is just with the career advice they can do. And some students that I've had in the shadowing this year said, I shadow as a student, now I want to host. So they really know what it's like on both sides. The next program that I want to talk about is a little bit more involved than networking and shadowing, and it will happen in the junior year. So it's called the PC Executive Mentor Program. So during the spring of sophomore year, students have a chance to apply. This is a smaller, more competitive program where we get about between 15 and 20 alumni or community partners that want to have a more formal relationship, a 2-year relationship. So students in the spring will apply for the program, and then in the fall of their junior year, it will kick off. So it's just another resource. It's someone that they can meet with, talk to, get some resume advice, get some connections, and really what we hope is get some more of that softer skill advice and, how to prep for an interview and just gain the confidence by realizing that, executives aren't always so scary and doing that. It's a very informal program once you're in it, whereas the relationship is up to the mentor and the student. They can meet as much as they want or as little as they want. I do plan a few events that help make connections. So next month we'll be doing a basketball game. We get the suite and the students and mentors can come together for networking so that way they get to connect with their mentor as well as others in the program. And then we do an end of the year dinner. We used to get to go to a hockey game till they start to do really well, and now we can't get the suite. So we don't get to do that anymore, but it was fun the year we did it. So those are great opportunities as well. So those are things to look forward to in the coming years that they can do. Again, all these are just ways to get involved and network and explore different careers that we do. In addition to the career exploration programs and the networking, these really are all a good foundation to prepare for their next step, which is internships. So our Career Center has a great internship program. Students can come, again, coaching appointments, quick question hours, and ask to learn about internships, how to find them. Usually we'll start off by having them show us their resume. We'll go over it, talk about cover letters. The reason that this is a great step is not only do we help them realize they're not selling themselves enough, they're saying, oh, I just did a camp counselor. It's really pulling out and realize, well, that's communicating with a lot of parents, maybe about a student issue, how they had to plan and work with other people and team building. It's getting them to realize their strengths and start to build that confidence in themselves and seeing how even the early on experiences they have with summer jobs can really help in their future and those transferable skills that employers want to have. And we know that internships are really important because employers really value looking at the activities that they've done, the volunteers that they've done, and really seeing their success. So that's where we can help pull it together in their resumes. They also want to make sure that they demonstrate the core skills developed via activities such as presentation skills, leadership skills, teamwork, interpersonal skills, analytical skills, and technical skills. So you should all make sure this is on your resume because it's communication skills, speaking to a room full of people. So these students have all had great internship experiences, so we're going to let them talk a bit. So Giancarlo, could you share with us your internship, how you found it, what you did at it, all the good
Sure.
stuff?
So
Thank you.
this past summer, I interned at Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey. And in January, following or prior to the internship, I went into the Center for Career Education and I spoke with Ted DeNicola, one of the career coaches. And he introduced me to a PC alum who was actually the CEO of the hospital. And after a few weeks of email communication, I was offered an internship for the summer. And I interned in the Human Resources Department at Holy Name. So I worked with the nurse recruiter, just the regular allied health recruiters, and the employee relations manager. So I didn't just stay in my office. I just went out with him, and we dealt with the numerous employee relations matters. We worked on budget. So although I was working in HR, I had just so many other opportunities to spread out throughout the hospital. We had a career workshop for local high school students at the hospital, and that was a great experience as well.
What was your favorite part before we move on?
My favorite part was probably the workshop for the high school students because I could relate to them most. They were sophomores and juniors in high school, and listening to a hour PowerPoint about their careers when they're 15 and 16 wasn't really appealing to them. But talking with them, and I let them know too that everything that you see with interviewing and with resume, it's going to help you when you're applying to schools as well.
Good. And one last question. Have you been able to pull anything you learned from your internship back into the classroom?
Sure. So, in my HR experience, there's a lot of involvement with ERISA and COBRA and all of the mandates for employees and benefits. So that's something that I've been able to pull from my internship in my health law class.
Great. Thank you very much. Josh, how about you?
So this past summer, I interned at Sentinel Benefits and Financial Group. It's a small retirement firm out of Wakefield, Massachusetts. There, I worked with the Asset Wealth Management Group, and most of my day-to-day stuff focused on kind of tweaking portfolios, stuff along those lines. My favorite part about that internship, my manager would give me little projects, and he'd say, all right, take a look at this sector of the market. I want you to go through, look at some funds, look at some ETFs, different things, and say, give me one that fits in our model. And now he threw this at me like first or second day, and I was like, I really have no clue how to do that. But by the end, actually my last week, he gave me a similar project, and he said, Josh, I want you to go in and I want you to find a short-term bond fund, a very conservative, something for a portfolio. And I flipped through, I used Morningstar most of the time, and I actually came up with something that went very under the radar, but he liked it, it fit the model, and now there's a lot of people with their retirement plans with a fund that I picked, which is kind of cool. And I got so much out of it. I learned more in those 3 months than I did in a year of school for finance. It was unbelievable.
Great. Thank you. Kristen.
So the first intern I had was actually last fall when I decided to drop my math major and focus more on the public community service. I found an internship through the E-Friars program, and it was at the Expect Miracles Foundation in Boston. So I went there 2 days a week during the school year, took the train in. It's a very small nonprofit funding cancer research. That internship gave me so much hands-on experience. It's a very small staff. Hands-on, I learned all the ins and outs. They let me be a part of all the projects, attend their events as I was their special events intern. It was just a way to apply the skills that we had learned in the classroom. I was able to actually use and do something more meaningful than sitting around talking about it. And because of that experience that I had last fall, I got an email over the summer as I applied for a few more internships that because of that experience that I was able to gain, I got an internship at Dana-Farber in Boston again. So I started over the summer, and I'm there now this fall, 2 days in Boston again. But just having this experience and being able to take what I had been learning and using in my practicums and actually doing it for something more than just talking about it was really important and something that has been able to carry me through.
Kristen, do you feel that your education and the activities you've been involved in kind of helped prepare you for once you actually started to do your internship?
Yes, definitely. I know in the PSP major, we have to go through a year-long practicum, and so we are placed at a community partner around Providence where we're the liaison between students and the outside community. That's definitely smaller scale. We are guided through the whole thing. So having that interaction and then being able to take it one step farther of working in an organization in the financial district of Boston and being able to incorporate all the values and ideals that they taught us and bring them into fruition was something like really important.
Great, thank you. Amanda, how about your internship experience?
So I've currently interning at Brown University in their internal audit department. But before that, I've had 2 internships at accounting firms on Long Island and New York City. But I actually found Brown through eFriars, and I was able to do practice interviews with the career services before I applied and interviewed. Currently at Brown, I worked through the summer, and now I'm also working through the school year as well. And I've been able to realize what I wanted to do in accounting. I did a little tax, a little auditing, and I really enjoyed auditing. So I tried internal auditing this year, and it's a great experience, but I definitely want to stick to external auditing.
Okay, great, thank you very much. So we heard eFriars mentioned a few times. That is our online database where anytime an employer calls us and wants to hire a PC student for an internship or an entry-level job, or even postgraduate, we do help alumni and MBA students as well. We post them in eFriars. So if your students aren't already familiar with that, make sure they go on and sign up. So it's going to be the resource for them. It has a lot of different opportunities. We also added in there a list of all internships that students have had in the past, just so if they're not even really sure what they want to do, they can go and click their major and do econ and see where all places that students have had internships in the past. It's a good hit list. So it's not always, those lists aren't necessarily current opportunities, but they know, well, these are some places that students have had internships in the past. Then they can go look into the actual database where it has the opportunities. We also list our events in there and other ways that students can engage with employers. They'll know when there's lobby tables that are coming on campus. So that brings me to the next program that's really important is the on-campus recruiting program. So while your students won't be ready for entry-level jobs right now, it's good to start to get familiar with it and to start to engage with employers early and often. So we bring a lot of things to campus. So one of the newer programs is practice interviews. It's typically on Fridays, we bring employers to campus so students can kind of feel more real-like situations of just interviewing. They have a variety of different employers that come from all different career fields. Students can sign up as often as they want. We also will have employers come and do info sessions or lobby tables. So lobby tables is just, they're trying to get their brand out. As much as a student wants to get a job, the employers want students to apply for jobs. So they come on campus a lot. So it's great to just talk to employers, introduce yourself. Again, the more they do this, the more practice, and it's going to get better, just like playing, games and sports. The more you practice, the better you get at it. Information sessions are a little bit more involved. The employer actually comes, does a presentation, so the students can sit through it, listen, learn more about their company as well. So those are great opportunities that we have in there for them to do. We also have off-campus career fairs for students. So actually this week coming up, we have a government career fair. We've partnered with some different schools, and at Johnson & Wales we'll be hosting it so students can go and learn about all government opportunities. FBI, CIA, different organizations will be there. And sometimes they'll do workshops as well because applying for government positions is not easy. So there'll be a lot of advice and you want to talk to people early. We also have, it's called the Liberal Arts Recruiting Consortium coming up on November 4th, I believe. And that has a lot of education, consulting, liberal art positions. And that's held in Boston, again, with Providence College and other liberal arts schools. So these great opportunities are really important for students to get involved in. In addition to that, we have, of course, our on-campus career fairs. So this past fall, the Major Minor Fair was part of the Career Expo. That is an event, used to be an individual career fair, now it's one ginormous event. We have it in Peterson. We've been able to get recreational sports to put a hold on intramurals till later that evening. We have over 100, I think it was 120 that came this fall to be part of our expo, so students got to talk to a variety. In the fall, it's definitely a lot of finance and accounting, but we had a good variety for the fall. We had healthcare, education, marketing. In addition to that, we have 40 grad schools that come. So students can, after they go to the major minor fair, can go and talk to grad schools about their application process and employers. We also bring in a photographer during the expo, and that's when they can get a photo for LinkedIn. Nice professional photos so that they can really start their online networking as well. And then we do an summer experience showcase. So it's a group of students that have had some experience. So whether it's research, internship, volunteer during the summer, they're there to talk to students. So the idea behind the expo was get the students there for the major minor fair so they can start getting used to talking and exploring their majors. Then maybe they'll go on to the summer experience showcase, network with students to learn about their experiences. Then if they're feeling brave, go out to the career fair and talk with the employers. Again, if they go up to an employer as a first-year student and just say, even if they're not in professional clothes, I wasn't expecting to talk to employers, say I'm only a first-year student, they're going to, again, be impressed that you're motivated, that you're there. And then you're starting to learn what employers want so the students can then go back and start preparing for that success. And if they're interested in grad school, they can talk to the grad schools. So once again, I have great students that have been to our process. So Giancarlo, we'll kick you off again because I know you also took part of the Summer Experience Showcase. So if you can talk a little bit about that as well as your experience with career fairs.
Sure. So at this past Fall Career Expo, we had a summer internship showcase, and it was just very casual. We had students who, like myself, who have done internships the past summer. So there was about 20 of us, and the first year and sophomore students would come in, or any year, and they would speak to us individually about our experiences with our internship. And I talked to a lot of first-year students who weren't really sure what they wanted to do. And then once they got an idea of what PC students were doing over the summer at internships, it kind of helped them with what they wanted to do as well.
Gosh.
So, the career fair for me, I like the interaction you get with the employers. Like the practice interviews, it's good to have that professional or informal conversation with recruiters because at some point you are going to be in an interview and you're going to need to present yourself well. You basically got to sell yourself, and hopping from one to another is basically like a real quick interview. You got to sell yourself. How much time you got? 5 minutes. What's your pitch? And I like that. It's kind of it's a good experience for that type of thing. Also, there's large firms, but there's also small firms. For me, at my internship this past summer, I would not have got the one-on-one attention that I got at a smaller firm if I had went to a bigger firm. So, and that applies across all majors. Like, if you go to a smaller firm, you're going to get more individual attention than you are if you're just one in a bunch of different interns. So, that's my piece.
Thank you.
You got it.
Chris? Kristen?
For me, when I went to the career fair, I went through this. I was like, I'm not a business major. What do I do? But as Stacy said, it's not for business majors. There's so many different organizations and companies that come in that are looking for students. So for me, it was just that ability to talk to people, go up to people, practice, trying to explain like this is what I've done in my educational experience and like how and see like what they're looking for to then use further in interviews when answering questions or trying to ask questions. I think that for me was the biggest part of just the interactions face to face rather than sending an email or on the phone, something like that. It's the interactions that you get through the career fair that really are the most beneficial.
So I also had going to the career fair is extremely helpful. Also, it's in a sense networking too because you build those relationships with the recruiters that you'll see that are always on campus or come back every year after year. So as a senior now, I'm actually able to, the recruiters know my name and face, which is really helpful when it comes to applying to jobs because I'm not just an application. They'll be able to put an experience with my application. So it's definitely, it could be overwhelming at first, but it's the same thing as networking. You just have to, like, you have to sell yourself. You're just trying to give your elevator pitch and do your best to just try to make those relationships.
Great, thank you. So, and that is probably the biggest change I've seen since I've been here. I'm not sure if you've seen 64 Hall, but that was where our career fairs used to be held. So now we have so many more employees that are coming, And really, most of it is because of the Providence College students. This year, we had record high for the fall. Over 1,300 students came, and if you notice, most of them were the class of 2020, so they're already getting a good start. And the employers are just impressed. We got so much positive feedback from the career fair saying how polished they were, how well dressed they were, how they were well spoken, and it just really is a testament because now they're going to want to come back, and we're starting to have to tell employers that the career fair is full, but you can post them on e-flyers, and that's where a lot of them will come to make the face-to-face connection, and then their deadlines are shortly after that. So certainly for finance and accounting, the students need to be ready early because they can project this far in advance and hire for full-time jobs now for next June, as well as internships. However, March 22nd is going to be our Spring Career Expo. That's going to have a lot more of the just-in-time hires, more service opportunities. So we're actually calling this the Spring Career Expo and Service Fair. So there'll be more opportunities, volunteer opportunities for students that want to do a gap year, as well as more healthcare, marketing, and a variety of nonprofit organizations will be there as well. So those are good opportunities for students. For students that don't find the opportunities, whether it's because of geographic reason or it's not the companies that they want at the Career Expo, same thing with networking nights or shadowing, that's where our individual career coaching will often come in, whether meeting with me or, as John Carlos said, meeting someone like Ted in our office. That's when we can say, okay, where do you want to go? You want to go out to California. Well, unfortunately, not all companies have big budgets to travel and to recruit further than their home area. So that's where we can say, let's go on LinkedIn. Let's tap into our network. Let's see who's out in California. How can we put you in contact? So that's where we can give the individualized attention and help students. Or even sometimes it's just that student that just keeps applying and hasn't heard back and needs that pep talk. So we're really there to meet the needs of the students at the time that they're ready. Some students will come in multiple times. And the more that you get to know our office, the employers, the more they start to get to know you. So it will often be, we'll get an employer calling us and saying, we need to fill this position, do you know of anyone? So we definitely will market it to the whole school, but then if there's people that we've worked with, or I look through my little coaching, my notebook of who I've met with and say, oh, I just met with a student, we can do individual emails out. So it's not always just, knowing the recruiters, it's being involved with our office and getting to know us as well for these opportunities. So e-flyers, LinkedIn, these are all things your students will start to learn about. We are going to an online portal soon, so it will be easier for them to see. But there's just a variety of opportunities that we can help your students with by connecting them with alumni and different opportunities. So when they say to embrace the network from the alumni office, that's one of their taglines they use. You definitely want to make sure that you do that. It's just invaluable for them. So before we close up, I want to just give each panelist an opportunity just to kind of give some advice now that they're all tried and true, been through our office, have had experiences, things that maybe you wish you had known when you first started off at PC. We'll start opposite. Amanda, any last words of advice?
I would say go in as early as you can. I started, I think, more so my sophomore year, and I wish I started freshman year. So definitely just go in. Practice interviews are extremely helpful, and it's also, in a sense, a way to network as well. And it's not as stressful as an actual interview. So just doing that and just go to the career office as early as you can.
Thank you.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I also didn't start going to the Career Center until sophomore year, and I wish I had taken more advantage of going to more networking nights, even as a freshman, just to get that experience, that interaction face to face. But also, the biggest thing for me is using the e-flyers online, just browsing through like the positions that are posted, like just looking at like the descriptions, seeing like the feel of like what's out there, like what do I want to do, just to get a general understanding, and seeing where other people have gone and what other people had internships in your major. But just that online database has so many things in it, and so utilizing everything that is out there.
My bit of advice, make a LinkedIn. For those of you who are incoming freshmen, a lot of you might not know what that is. It's basically a professional network for networking. And take the time to fill it out, make it look professional. You're going to be presenting yourself to employers, no matter what your major. I went in early to the Career Center. They basically helped me make LinkedIn. They told me what it should look like. They told me how to make it look professional, how to send emails to people. It's worked wonders for me so far, and it's basically the way I got my internship freshman year, which is pretty rare.
The bit of advice that I would give is that you have to be very patient. When I came into the Center for Career Education in January, I didn't get, there was communication going back and forth, but I didn't get my offer until March or April. So I think that you have to set kind of realistic goals that you're not going to walk into the Center for Career Education and walk out with an internship. It takes time, and you get what you put into it. That's my bit of it.
Thank you very much. And I would definitely echo all that. I mean, I certainly never used career services when I was in college, and now I wish I had. But definitely they can come in, and they can even just come in and say, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. I just want to come to the office. And we can start them off slow, and that's where a lot of times, we can give them a little bit, then they can go, whether it's develop their resume or not. We've started to add some new programs. Another success this year we've had is with Resumania. So now we know students wait till the last minute to do things, so the day before the Career Expo, we bring in employers, again, trying to get employers, they want to build their brand, but students can actually get their resume reviewed by an employer the day before the Career Expo to really get prepared, and we do workshops, different things like that we do. So we're constantly trying to go into classrooms or give presentations to help students feel more confident. But sometimes they just want that one-on-one attention, so they can always make an appointment. We also do quick question hours, which I hadn't mentioned earlier, every day, 1:30 to 3:30. So if they just want to get their resume reviewed real quick, want to get their LinkedIn profile reviewed, want to figure out how to get started with LinkedIn, we can do all those in these 15-minute just drop-in hours. Internships also, they have their own drop-in hours. A lot of students just need help with, whether it's the paperwork, if they want to do it for credit or not. So there's just lots of services that we have to offer. We have a variety of career coaches in our office, some from business backgrounds. So a lot of us have done the informational interviewing. I did that when I changed jobs from financial services. So we've done it. So it just helps that we can share and just help students, even if it is just they need a little bit of moral support. We have a little bit of time. Does anyone have any questions? We are streaming, so if we can use the microphone, or else if you speak loud, I can repeat your question for you. And I will be here afterwards if people want to come up. Any questions? It's just like... So for the winter break sharing for the alums, I have a list of alumni that have volunteered in the past, and I reach out to them. The alumni office also marketed it. Were you interested? You can talk to me. The program is launched right now, but I can add in some more people. They'll actually be getting an email. Students get a newsletter about our office every Sunday at about 11:40, so right when they're getting up from brunch, that has all the upcoming deadlines and events. So I can certainly speak with you and get that. It's a great program, and it sets it up where once the students get matched with the shadowing opportunity, they can connect directly with the alum to set up a date and time that works for them. And again, it's from different geographic areas so that they can do it during their winter break, which is a little bit longer this year. Anyone else? Yes. Yes. Yep. So in regards to the internships that are not for paid, so some of the ones that aren't paid tend to be academic internships. So that means they're doing it during the school year. So instead of taking 5 in-the-room classrooms, one of them would be an academic internship. So they would go to the site 8 to 10 hours a week and do that. So then that's a little bit easier for students to do the unpaid ones. Other than that, so we did just start last year it's the Veritas Distinguished Award. You received that, correct, Giancarlo? So if you wanted to speak a little bit about that.
So we have it's called the Veritas Distinguished Internship Program, and it's basically a grant for an unpaid internship for a nonprofit. So my hospital was a nonprofit, and it wasn't paid. So Providence College, I applied for the grant, and I was accepted. So they gave me a grant which not only covered my expenses because I drove to work every day, but my lunch, gas. So it was because I wouldn't have been able to do the internship because it costs about $200 a week just getting there and for lunch.
So there's opportunities such as that. And it does depend on the field. Unfortunately, nonprofits, communications, those don't tend to be ones that get paid. So oftentimes with students, if they do need to get some money over the summer, sometimes it's okay, so you do your summer job, and then during the school year, you could do one of these academic credits. that way, it's a little bit easier to not do that. And we are constantly trying to find those paid internship opportunities. I know in Rhode Island, they've done programs where they try to get companies to help them with the funding as well, because it is such an important opportunity. Those are some different ways. Any other questions? And we can also, for the students that do just work experience because they need to make the money, is really working with them to show these are the skills, do these things during your summer experience to gain those skills. Because really, you don't put internship experience on your resume, you're just putting experience. So whether it was being a secretary of a club or managing staff at a camp, it's all those different skills and where are they gaining those experiences that we can help with. I'll be here for a little bit longer if anyone else has any questions. I hope you enjoy the rest of your visit here, and thank you very much for coming. We enjoyed having you. And thank you, panelists.